Welcome to Life Today. I'm Randy Robison. On this special digital edition, I have Country Music Hall of Famer Charlie Daniels with me. Charlie, good to have you.
Good to be here, Randy. Appreciate you having me on tonight.
So you've got this new book, Never Look at the Empty Seats. And the thing that I find interesting about it is that faith plays such an important role.
It definitely does. I wrote a chapter on faith, and it was the hardest chapter for me to write because I was trying to write about my journey, about my faith journey when I started out kind of wondering what it was all about. You know, I heard all my life people told me Jesus died for you, died for your sins. I believed it, but I didn't know what it all meant.
Sure.
I didn't know why did that have to happen? How did it apply to me? So I decided as I got older, I started going to different kind of churches, and I heard so much about condemnation, so little about love, that I got the opinion that the only way I could achieve salvation was to live a perfect life, which of course was impossible to do. And I thought that, it was like you would accept the Lord, and then you would sin, and you would lose your salvation. You had to start all over again. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand what the forgiveness and the blood was all about. And so after a while, I just kind of walked away from it, and I didn't quit believing. I just had to quit trying to figure it out. So I decided what I was going to do as I got older. I took my Bible. I said, I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to take what I find out, what I know to be the truth out of it, and I'm going to combine it with the opinions and the philosophies of some other people who I respect that have studied the Bible that I can read. And so I started on my faith journey right then to figure out why Jesus had to die for me and how his blood it covers my sins, and how it was hard for me to accept the fact that I knew that when you were saved it covered your sins right then, but I didn't realize that it went on and on and on and on, and when we made a misstep that we could confess it, and the Bible says God's faithful to forgive it. Mm-hmm. So it was quite a waking up thing to me to find out. So that's kind of where I am now. The reason the chapter was so hard to write, I wanted to be exact about what I wrote. I wanted people to understand exactly what I was talking about and what I believe. So I started way back in the Old Testament, with the Old Covenant and up to the New Covenant.
Yeah. How would you say, reading the Bible for yourself impacted your life overall?
Well, I had never, my family, some of my families have Bible reads at night, usually just a couple of verses, and I never had an exhaustive study of the Bible. I'd never done it. And to actually go and start reading it, and still to this day, the more you read it, the more things pop out at you.
Oh yeah, it's very layered, very deep.
Yeah, I'll still this day be reading it. Something that's what that means.
Yeah.
That's what that's about. But I just started really concentrating and around like Romans 10. You believe in your heart. You can confess in your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God's raised him from the dead. You'll be saved. Mm-hmm. It's hard not to try to, when you come from a background like I did, it's hard not to keep trying to add things to that. Yeah. And then you got to go back and say, no, that's not what it says. Yeah. It says if you confess with your mouth, you believe in your heart God's raised Jesus Christ from the dead, you'll be saved. That's a standalone thing right there.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, and then you start, if you start trying to pad what he said, you're in trouble.
Yeah. That's very cool. What else is in the book? I mean, I'm sure this covers a lot.
It's my journey, my story from my earliest remembrances and the first 80 years of my life.
The first 80 years.
Yeah. But I wrote on this thing. I wrote on it for 20 years, I guess. I just kept writing and editing and trying to, stick to the pertinent parts, the interesting parts. And I could never find a place to empty it. Empty it. I could never find a place to end it, is what I'm trying to say. When I found I was going to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, I thought this is a great place to end this. I think this is a great place to end the book. So I did. I went home after I was inducted. The night after the night I was inducted, the next day I sat down and wrote the ending. and then just kind of back wrote to where I was during the 20 years I'd written on and I had the book.
So what would be maybe the strangest or most unusual part of the book? I mean, come on, you got to have some great stories from the road.
Oh, goodness. I read it, but I would like to tell you about the title if I could.
Yeah.
The title is kind of strange within its own self. It's Never Look at the Empty Seats. And what that comes down to, when you're a young musician, if you're serious about making it, and I was, you'll play anywhere for anybody for anything they'll give you. And you're going to have a lot of empty seats because nobody knows who you are. They'll come out of curiosity, a few people and all. But if you concentrate on the empty seats, if you walk in and say, "Oh, I only got a third of a house tonight. I'm not going to put it all out there. I'm going to play a short set or something."
Yeah.
If you do that, you can't do that. You're cheating the people out front. You're not concerned with the empty seats. You're concerned with the seats that have people in them. So you go entertain those people. You act just like you got a full house every night. And then the next time you come back to town, they said, "Oh, boy, it's pretty good. I'm going to go and I'm going to take John Jim with me." And the first thing you know, we got a following build up. That's how you go about doing it. It's accentuate the positive basics what it comes down to.
Yeah, that actually fits with what you just talked about with faith. You know, to quit looking at your own faults.
Yeah.
And then look at what Christ has done for you. You'll get a lot further that way.
Absolutely.
You're not going to give me any good stories?
I can't, to be perfectly honest with you about it, I cannot remember one right. The only time I can ever, even the stuff in the book, unless something happens to jog my memory, I'll be sitting around talking with Marshall Tucker Band or somebody we travel with a lot, and we'll sit there and somebody say, "You remember night in St. Paul when?" And then that starts it. It starts flowing.
Yeah.
But I just literally can't. I have not been able to remember road stories very well. I can tell you some nice things that happened to me. We do a show called Volunteer Jam, and we started 42 years ago. We do it in Nashville, and it's a whole bunch of artists on it. I was standing on stage. It was a Saturday night. I was standing on stage in Nashville, and I looked over the side, and Roy Acuff, who was one of my all-time heroes I had listened to all my life, had come to the Volunteer Jam in between shows at the Grand Ole Opry for no other reason. He's just the kind of guy. He was just such a nice guy, and he knew it just tickled me to death. And he came, and he was standing over there, and I come out here, and we did some of his songs and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a fun night.
Good
Nice
memories. You mentioned that you play, when you're trying to make it, you play in a lot of places that aren't big stages, really. But before we sat down here, you were telling me that you continue to play in some places that wouldn't be considered, large venues.
Oh, yeah. We play wherever. We play sometimes, we'll play anything from like some of the outdoor festivals, and they have 30, 40,000 people, to a small, like a 2,200 seat theater, even smaller sometimes. We play everywhere.
And you do a lot for the military.
We have done quite a bit for military over the years. I've been to Iraq 3 times. I've been to Korea 5 times. I've been to Guantanamo and Kosovo and Bosnia, and just where we can. I was 5 years old when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And so I grew up during the Second World War, and I say this on stage every night. I learned very early in my life that the only 2 things that protect America are the grace of God and the United States military. And I feel that I've gone through a bunch of wars with this country. I've gone through the Second World War and the Korean War and the Vietnam War, and I have my respect, admiration, and gratitude for the military knows no bounds. I feel that we owe them an unpayable debt of gratitude. Anybody that will put their lives between us and our enemies so our families can go to bed at night without worrying about somebody coming in and killing them. Yeah. We owe them a debt of gratitude.
Absolutely.
And so I try to do what I can for veterans and go play for the troops and stuff when I can.
And I know they appreciate it, and we appreciate you doing that kind of thing. I'm just going to have to read the book to get all the good stories.
So. I want you to.
Okay.
By all means.
All right. Where can we pick up the book? I know you pick it up anywhere. What's your website for all your other stuff?
CharlieDaniels.com.
CharlieDaniels.com.
Yeah, you can get it there. You can get it anywhere books are sold. Yep. You can order it.
Go pick up the book and visit CharlieDaniels.com, and you can see where he's playing. And I didn't tell you this, but I have actually seen you at the Grand Ole Opry. Yeah, great show. So check all that out. And there's more of Charlie Daniels on Life Today if you want to see him. He is on our broadcast show. You can see that at lifetoday.org. Thank you for watching and sharing this interview. Be sure to check out the social media for Life Today Television, and you can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed this channel, do it now so you can see more of our great guests.